What are the professions that most people think is hard but actually isn't?
A lot of office jobs are hard to get, but easy to do.
Sanitation garbage man is not the dirty, backbreaking job that it used to be. With very few usually seasonal exceptions. You'd also be surprised at the pay.
Many times IT support is incredibly chill. There were days I did nothing but play around on my phone because I didn't have any tickets. I say many times because some companies will assign you a bunch of busy work to keep you occupied.
Many military occupations for enlistees are simple and uncomplicated. My father is a crippled veteran, therefore I assist him with certain support groups. Many men detest the hero worship associated with it, and occasionally they can become seriously disturbed by the continuous praise for performing a menial task. Thanks for keeping the country safe and America free. My dude, I am a mechanic and never saw the front lines. It is obviously not a catch-all, as a bad day at war is an extremely horrible, life-altering day, and some enlisted positions are also extremely physically demanding.
Security for sure, but specifically unarmed security. Having worked at a casino and then with a contract company, think Garda-World, Allied Universal, etc., the hardest part about my job was the learning phase. Security usually runs like clockwork unless you're in a particularly bad neighborhood, but even then, if you're unarmed, you're just a glorified doorman to keep insurance happy. Even armed security guards don't have it as bad overall, but the responsibility is sometimes more than the average person is willing to take on.
There are many jobs that this might apply to. I think the difference is that in many of these easy jobs, you only get one mistake. Mistakes can either be catastrophic or fatal. So the tasks may be easy, but you're being paid for vigilance, focus, and the ability to reproduce a task at the same level over and over. To me, that's the difference between easy, low-paying jobs and easy, high-paying jobs. If you mess up, no one go bye-bye.
Dermatology, just remember the 6 rules. If it's dry, wet it. If it's wet, dry it. If they're not on steroids, start steroids. If they're on steroids, take them off. If you don't know what it is, biopsy it. If you do know what it is, biopsy it. Pretty simple.
My former neighbor was an air traffic controller. He said it was super easy. Like playing a video game. That surprised me. I'm an engineer. It's not terribly difficult if you have the right mindset. I tell people it's 90% experience, so it's not like anybody can just do it well from day one. But it really isn't the math that's the difficult part.
Brain surgeon. Most people misunderstand and think they heard brain surgeon, but brain sturgeons just bash the brains out of sturgeons, the fish, which ain't that hard to bash. LOL.
Most jobs are quite easy if you're naturally inclined to doing that type of work. And they're hard if you aren't.
Ergonomics. My job basically consists of saying that blue on blue is garbage if you want your user to know what they're doing.
Corporate management's job seems like it's just throwing wrenches at people below them. The best managers I've seen are the ones that just slack off and leave you alone. Pretty low bar when doing flat out nothing is considered good.
I am genuinely convinced that most office jobs could be done by 15-year-olds. The hard part about these jobs is getting them, since you're usually competing against 100,000 other people who also want in.
I work in finance. Hard to get and not very hard to do.
Banker, it's basically just playing with money that you can lose.
IT. It isn't glamorous work, and it does require some training, but once you're in, you're in. I've seen so many people phone it in. Basically just move the computer mouse enough to keep their status online, but not really produce much.
My ex was some kind of business architect engineer who made amazing money. He literally did nothing all day. I know this because he worked from home most of the time and would only go to the office when there was some kind of team bonding activity. His day was PS5 games with his work laptop next to him, and all his team's messages were pretty personal conversations amongst his coworker friends. I was like, well, I made wrong choices in life, lol.
Being a 911 dispatcher is incredibly easy, and I get paid way too much money for it.
Data analytics. Just be good at SQL, Excel, and have some common sense. I make over 6 figures doing this job, and I'm amazed they pay me this much.